Welcome to the Deep Dive, the place where we take just the overwhelming mountain of information out there, especially around personal growth, and turn it into a clear, actionable path for you. I mean, if you've spent any time at all looking for advice on how to improve your life, you know the volume of material it's just staggering.
It's everywhere.
Yeah, we're talking about everything from these really honest, practical forum discussions, detailing everyday struggles.
Things like procrastination, burnout, jealousy.
Exactly. And then you have the other end of the spectrum, which is this complex, peer-reviewed academic research on neuroscience and cognitive architecture.
Right. And the real challenge isn't finding the advice. It's sifting through all that noise to find the actual repeatable mechanics of change, the stuff that truly sticks.
Our mission today is, well, it's laser-focused. We're here to create a clear, actionable roadmap for sustainable personal growth, and it's custom-tailored from the sources you've shared with us.
And we're not focused on what you should change.
No. You already know you want to read more or, I don't know, start a new business. We're focused squarely on how to make that change actually happen, using both hard science and proven behavioral frameworks.
It's a fantastic stack of material for that. It really blends theory with lived experience. So we're synthesizing the emotional reality of those Reddit threads where people get stuck with these very detailed guides on setting up personal development plans and, critically, the academic studies on mindsets, grit, and the literal neurobiology of adult learning.
It's the perfect mix. Okay, let's unpack this.
Let's do it.
We're going to approach this deep dive in 3 stages. We'll start with the non-negotiable foundational mindset, which is really rooted in brain science.
Right.
Then we'll move into the practical, most mechanical frameworks for actually getting things done.
The execution part.
Exactly.
Ah.
And finally, we'll apply a critical lens, talking about the common pitfalls and the guardrails that make sure your effort is healthy and sustainable, not just some temporary surge of motivation.
So to begin, let's ground ourselves in the latest understanding of the brain. Because really, if you don't believe you can change, no technique is going to work.
Right.
We have to just toss out the old dogma that says the brain's architecture is fixed once you hit adulthood.
So the idea that you can't teach an old dog new tricks is officially obsolete.
Functionally, yes. I mean, the scientific confirmation of neuroplasticity proves that the brain continually adapts. It rewires itself, forms new connections as we learn, all throughout our lives.
So for you, the listener, this means the physical mechanism for change is always there. Your capabilities aren't set in stone.
They're not fixed at all.
And that biological reality leads directly to the behavioral science of mindset. Dr. Carol Dweck's research gives us these 2 core perspectives that determine how we see challenges and failure. You have the fixed mindset.
Right. So if you're operating from a fixed mindset, you believe you're intelligent, that your talent, your ability is just a fixed trait you were born with.
Something you can't change.
Exactly. And so failure is viewed as this negative and permanent reflection of your innate ability.
Which is why people with that mindset often prefer easy tasks. Success is guaranteed, and they don't have to risk making a mistake that might expose a perceived flaw.
Absolutely. And if we link this back to those real-world struggles, like the jealousy of younger or wealthier peers we saw in the threads, the fixed mindset makes that jealousy feel crushing. If they succeeded because of a fixed trait you don't have, then you feel permanently disadvantaged.
There's no way to catch up.
Right. But the antidote to that is the growth mindset.
Okay.
And this is the belief that abilities, all of them, can be developed through sustained hard work, dedicated effort, and perseverance. They actually seek out challenges because mistakes provide valuable, instructive feedback.
So they see the whole process as a journey of getting more competent, not just a test of some static talent. What really stands out to me is how this difference plays out even at a neurological level. You shared some fascinating research using event-related potentials, or ERPs. How does the brain literally process an error differently based on your mindset?
It's a stark difference. When someone with a fixed mindset makes a mistake, their brain registers that error, but the activity that follows, specifically the error positivity response, is minimal.
So they know they messed up.
They see it, but they immediately direct their attention away from the error. They get defensive, neurologically speaking. They focus on what they think went wrong or just the immediate negative feeling.
So they focus on the mistake, but they don't process that information effectively to learn from it. It's like a failure to metabolize the feedback.
Precisely. In contrast, someone with a growth mindset shows a dramatically heightened error positivity response. They have greater attention when they get corrective feedback.
So they're not just registering the error.
No, they're actively engaging with the data it provides. They use it to immediately correct and learn, which leads to significantly greater gains in knowledge compared to their fixed mindset peers.
So if the growth mindset is about seeing mistakes as data points, the next critical piece has to be the commitment to keep gathering that data, even over years. That's grit, right? Perseverance and passion for long-term goals.
It's the practical application of the growth mindset. It's believing that effort matters so much that you stick with difficult things for years, maybe even decades.
And here's where it gets really interesting, to me at least. The research showed that smarter students sometimes actually had less grit than others.
Right. That's a surprising finding for a lot of people.
Because if you spent your whole life having things come easily, the moment you hit a real wall, you assume the difficulty means you lack talent, and you quit.
That over-reliance on natural ability can be a massive long-term disadvantage. It really can.
Okay, so we have the foundational belief that we can change. But the physical reality for a lot of us is we're still stuck staring at a blank screen or, doom scrolling when we should be working. How do we close that massive gap between mindset and action?
This is the ancient problem of acrasia, which is basically acting against your better judgment. The core science here is something called time inconsistency.
Okay.
You can think of it as a constant battle between your present self and your future self.
And the present self, the one who is currently in charge, always favors instant gratification.
Always. Exactly. The present self wants that immediate dopamine hit, whether it's checking social media or eating those hidden calories. The future self is the one who wants the long-term goals, weight loss, finishing the novel, getting a promotion.
But because the future self's reward is so far away, the present self just steals from it, knowing it can't object until tomorrow.
That's the trap.
But here's the crucial insight. The solution to getting started is realizing that crossing the procrastination action line is often less painful than staying put. The mental weight, the guilt, the shame, the anxiety you feel while you're actively procrastinating, that is often more painful than the actual effort of doing the work. The goal then is just to start, just build momentum.
And the key to that is reducing the friction of starting, making it frictionless or even mandatory.
So we have a few powerful strategies for this. Strategy 1 is the 2-minute rule.
I love this one.
Yeah, if a new habit takes less than 2 minutes to start, like just pulling out your yoga mat, pouring a glass of water, opening the file you need to work on, you're way less likely to stall. And that momentum carries you forward.
The second strategy is breaking down tasks into microscopic, measurable units. We saw the example of the writer Anthony Trollope.
Right, he was unbelievably prolific, 47 novels.
But he never measured his progress by chapters or books. He measured his output in 250 words every 15 minutes. That micromeasurement gave him a constant, immediate feeling of accomplishment.
And maintained momentum on what was a colossal, multi-year task. And strategy 3 involves what one of the senior managers in the source material called firing motivation. He said he lost 77 pounds by treating his obesity like a toxic employee.
I mean, what a great way to frame it. He had incredible self-awareness. He realized that motivation is unreliable, so it's a liability.
Right.
So instead of waiting to feel inspired, he implemented non-negotiable standard operating procedures, SOPs.
So the process just became this boring, cold audit. He tracked time and calories like a financial budget. The gym wasn't a choice. It was a mandatory meeting he couldn't skip.
He replaced the fickleness of motivation with the certainty of a system.
And the ultimate formalization of these systems is the personal development plan, or PDP. If you work in a corporate environment, you've seen these. But when you apply it to yourself, it becomes a real roadmap.
This is where you bring in SMART goals. Your goals have to be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound.
So that vague goal of be better at public speaking becomes...
Complete a local public speaking course and deliver a 10-minute presentation at work within the next 6 months. You have a timeline, a metric, a specific deliverable.
And to conquer that daily friction of just deciding what to do first, which so often leads right into doom scrolling, we can use the simple Ivy Lee method.
Super effective.
At the end of your workday, just write down the 6 most important tasks for tomorrow. Prioritize them. The next morning, you work only on task number 1 until it's finished before moving to number 2. That simple act of pre-prioritization removes the biggest hurdle, decision fatigue.
So we've built the necessary mental framework and we've installed the practical mechanics, but now we have to look at the culture this all operates in because the self-improvement landscape, well, it has a dark side.
Yeah, we definitely saw users struggling with comparison, jealousy, and just feeling inadequate under this pressure to constantly optimize.
And this really highlights why the traditional cultural pursuit of high self-esteem is so often counterproductive.
How so?
Well, research strongly indicates that high self-esteem often correlates with narcissism and the better than average effect, this emotional need to feel superior to others, just to feel okay about yourself.
So if your self-worth is based on being better than the person next to you, you're just setting yourself up for envy and anxiety.
Constantly. And critically, high self-esteem doesn't necessarily improve performance or prevent negative behaviors.
We also have to be really wary of the self-help industry itself, which often sells this illusion of a quick fix and just grossly oversimplifies really complex, multi-layered human issues.
And that oversimplification can set the stage for what researchers call false hope syndrome. The unrealistic promises aren't met, and it leads to disillusionment, increased self-blame, and a worse psychological state than when they started.
And then you have toxic positivity, which just invalidates your natural range of emotions. If you're told you have to always be positive, where do you put the genuine frustration or sadness or disappointment that comes with real effort and, failure?
You can't. And that links directly back to the loneliness some of our sources mentioned. If you can't share your real struggles because you feel you have to project this image of constant positivity, you isolate yourself from real connection.
So if high self-esteem is a trap, what's the healthier, non-narcissistic alternative?
It is definitively self-compassion, and this requires no social evaluation, no comparison to others. It has three core revolutionary components. First is self-kindness.
Which means treating yourself with the same care you'd offer a struggling friend instead of that harsh self-judgment.
Exactly. The second component is the one that directly fights that loneliness, common humanity.
Right.
This is recognizing that suffering, failure, making mistakes, this is just part of the shared human experience. They aren't isolating experiences or personal flaws.
Everyone goes through it.
And finally, mindfulness, which means being aware of your present difficult experience without, ruminating on the past or over-identifying with your failures.
And what's fascinating is the psychological payoff here. Self-compassion is strongly associated with mastery goals, increased happiness, and, crucially, a decreased fear of failure.
And it involves a deep desire for your own well-being that drives greater personal initiative without any of the negative baggage of narcissism or social comparison.
This all leads to this powerful philosophical idea of the payoff threshold, which gives us a framework for understanding why we choose certain behaviors, even the destructive ones.
The idea is that all human action is performed only as long as a person feels a subjective benefit or a payoff from it.
So my inability to stop doom scrolling is because the emotional benefit of instant tension relief is currently outweighing the moral or meaning benefit of working on my long-term goal.
That is the mechanism precisely. The source material outlines 6 currencies of benefit that form your internal map of benefits, what you subjectively consider valuable.
Okay, what are they?
There are real benefits like money or health, symbolic benefits like status, emotional benefits, comfort, pleasure, moral benefits, which is doing the right thing, meaning benefits purpose, contribution, and compensatory benefits, which is relief through self-punishment or suffering.
So true long-term change isn't about brute force. It's about shifting your map of benefits. It means making the meaning or moral currency of the new hard goal subjectively more valuable than the emotional currency of the old habit's instant pleasure.
You have to change your value system, not just your willpower. The person who successfully replaces a self-destructive habit hasn't eliminated the need for a payoff. They've chosen to value the long-term payoff of meaning or mastery over the instant emotional one.
That is a lot to process, but it synthesizes so beautifully into a core toolkit for you, the listener. You need the underlying mindset.
The growth mindset, backed by neuroplasticity.
Right. You need the repeatable mechanism.
The PDP, the Ivy Lee method, the 2-minute rule.
And you absolutely need the essential guardrail.
Self-compassion.
So what does this all mean?
It means we have to recognize the structure of the self. Your inner eye is formed by your internal hardware, your genetics, your temperament, and your external software, all your learned habits and experiences. The final freedom in self-improvement isn't trying to eliminate the sense of benefit that drives all human action. It's in choosing which benefit to pursue as your ultimate driving force. If you prioritize pleasure and recognition, you evolve one way. If you choose truth, meaning, and mastery, you evolve another. That choice dictates the entire nature of your future evolution.